Hello friends. Hi, welcome back to another video. I'm Marina, that one girl that likes to talk a lot about houseplants, and welcome to Millennial Planter, and welcome to 2023. Yay, I guess. I don't know, honestly, New Year's is always kind of weird for me, but welcome to the new year. And wow, it feels weird to record again. It's been a minute. My kids were on vacation, so and I also happened to get a week off of work. So I just went into full potato mode the past like 2 weeks. I was still doing plant chores here and there. I didn't completely neglect my plants. I completely neglected my plant room. That is absolutely horrid. But the plants are still doing really, really well. And I feel so much refreshed, so much more refreshed and inspired and ready to come back and make content for here and ready to make content for work, because that's also part of my job. And yeah, I'm just so happy to record again. So I thought, why not start the new year with some plant chores? While we do plant chores, I'll share with you the plants that I have gotten rid of and killed in 2022, and these are going to be like the significant ones, like not all the plants that I've sold and killed, because I'm sure there's like a whole list from the past year, but like the significant ones. And like the past couple weeks I've sold some plants that I didn't really necessarily tell you guys yet. So like this is also kind of, I guess, like a collection update. I don't know. But I just thought it would be fun to do that. So I hope you all are doing well. I hope your plants are doing well. I hope you all had a happy and safe New Year's. So let's get into some stuff. Do some chores with me, because I know you need to get them done. First off, I do need to share, my king has officially given me a flower. How freaking cute is that? I can't even believe it. King Anthuriums like to be mature before they flower. So I didn't really think we were at that stage yet, but apparently we are. And he's also popping out a new leaf. It looks like it's gonna be nice and thick. You can see I started to kind of train this plant together because it just took up way too much space. I also have my Anthurium that's flowering. That one's just about to flower. So I'm hoping this one will go to the male stage and this one will successfully go to the female stage. Because I think they do the male stage first, and then I can cross-pollinate them together. I don't know though, because this flower is starting to turn green, which I've never seen before, this inflow. So I'm not sure what that's about. It's been a while since I've done any sort of like Anthurium pollination stuff, so I'm definitely gonna have to research some information. And when I was preparing for this video, I was actually scrolling through my Instagram feed and like my archives of my stories to see like all the plants from the past year, from 2022. And it was this time last year, January of last year, that my Baccarie started to give me berries. So she's not giving me any berries this year, which is fine. But that's just so cool how it's been like a whole year and I did not successfully pollinate any Anthurium, which is sad. But that's fine. Also, I'm starting to notice like this is a trend where my Anthurium seem to like to flower in the winter. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe it's the sunlight thing, although my sunlight doesn't really change in the plant room. The temperature does though. So it might be a temperature thing, which is, I know with like Hoyas too, Hoyas like to bloom at certain times of the year. Like certain species of Hoyas like to bloom when it's cooler out, or when in the springtime when they're getting more sunlight, or in the fall when they're receiving less sunlight. So that's like a little quick Hoya tip. If your Hoya hasn't bloomed, maybe look into the species a little bit and see when their blooming season is. Also, like other Hoyas like to bloom when they're going through like a drought period. So yeah, maybe I guess Anthurium are the same, which is pretty cool. Don't mind the mess behind me. It is what it is at this point. So I guess the first plant chore I want to do is I really want to repot some plants. I need to repot my gloriosum. As you can see, she's about to crawl out of this pot. And also when I put her in this pot, her roots were like insane. So I know that like she's probably a little bit root bound in here. And I also have this larger pot to put her in. So I think she will be really happy in here. I also have this aloe, which is so surprising. Ooh, there's a spider on here. Which actually, like, little side note, having my tarantula has 1010% helped my arachnophobia. So I guess exposure does help. Anyways, I have this aloe that I literally never pay any attention to. This is like the easiest plant I have ever gotten. I water it about once a month. It sits on my windowsill where it is exposed to freezing temperatures and very minimal sunlight. And like, not only has it like tripled in size since I've gotten it, it has 2 pups here on the side, but it is extremely root bound. Like, it's very top heavy in this little pot that I have her in. So she definitely needs to be repotted. She's also been in a pot without drainage, so watering her has always been kind of annoying. But I'm actually really proud that I have kept that aloe alive, because I never keep aloe alive. So I frequently take trips to pet stores to get crickets and just pet supplies. I also get my coco coir that I use for my plants from the pet store because they sell blocks at PetSmart actually. And I recently found this bark, which is literally just, what is it? Fir bark. But it is perfect for my plants because the pieces of bark are so tiny versus like orchid bark and horticultural charcoal that usually has like big chunks, which is good for bigger plants. But like, if you're planting up like a smaller plant, like in a 6-inch pot, a 4-inch pot, sometimes I feel like the pieces are just too big and too chunky. I really like the size of this fir bark. It's really perfect. So I don't know, maybe check out your local PetSmart and see what kind of bark they offer. But that's my mix now. I still have the charcoal. I have some sphagnum moss in there. Actually, I cut up some pieces and put it in my soil. I don't know why, just because I felt like it. So let's get to this gloriosum. The first plant that I have recently gotten rid of, and I don't know if I've mentioned like some of the plants I have mentioned, but I'm not sure if I mentioned like all of them. But the first one is my Anthurium magnificum. I sold it because I was tired of her. I mentioned in one of my other videos, she has a new leaf and I have to be super careful. God, those new leaves are so fragile. I should have waited, but whatever. I mentioned a few videos ago that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna stop in collecting Anthuriums for the most part, just because compared to philodendron and Hoya, they're just so much more finicky, and I just don't want that type of plant in my collection anymore. There was a time where I was willing to do that for Anthuriums, but just not anymore. Honestly, I really have found my love again for philodendron. My love for Hoya is always there, will never go away. I really think I broke this leaf. It's kind of cracked. Okay. And I've always loved philodendron, honestly, but there was a time like last year where I was just like, I'm happy with my current philodendron collection. Not really looking for more, but I don't know, now I kind of want more philodendron. Yeah, look at those roots. So that's really cool. Now she has a little bit more space to grow. But yeah, so this year I have decided I'm going to mainly concentrate my collection on the odd plants that I really don't ever see anybody have, which is something I'm always keeping an eye out for, and then mainly Hoya and philodendron. Obviously, I'm not going to be mad if I get other plants in other species, but that's where I think I want my collection to head to. And yeah, so I got rid of my magnificum. Oh, and then also with that being said, I'm not actively like buying plants, which I haven't been actively buying plants for, I don't know, maybe like 2 years at this point. Very much still trading for my plants. But yeah, so then the next plant I finally sold my Anthurium forgetii, which was such a huge relief. That plant caused me so much stress, and it's just one of those things where you don't realize how much stress it caused you until like it's out of your hands and out of your collection. It just got to the point where I was secretly like hoping the plant would die, so I didn't have to care for it. And when you get to that point, in your plant journey with a plant, that's usually a sign to get rid of the plant. So I sold it, and this girl was more than happy to take it from me. She was so excited because she had just set up a cabinet for herself as well. So that's really cool. I kind of want to like text her and ask her for updates. I also sold it as a rehab, and she asked me why it was rehab, and I was like, honestly, it's not. It's kind of like a healthy plant. It's just on the struggle bus. I can never figure it out, so hopefully you can. But it is really nice though to pass these plants on to people in my local plant community, because then there's like a chance that maybe I can go to a swap one day and I can see them and ask them about the plant. Hopefully it's doing well, and if it died, oh well. The next plant, I have already told you, my Anthurium, my queen Anthurium, I sold as well. And that one, once again, like the Forgetia, it was such a huge weight off my shoulders. I am so happy I got rid of that plant. Even now, you know, the only regret I do have is that now I can't say that I have the king and queen Anthurium, but you know, that's not even anything to be worried about really, because that's just one con compared to all the pros, and how much better I feel not having to stress and worry about that plant, especially now when the heat is on and like my plant room is like sitting at 30%, you know, I don't have to worry about it. It is somebody else's problem, and that just makes me so happy. Right now, the only problem in my life is these dang flat mites, which by the way, for Christmas, my husband got me a microscope. So that's been a lot of fun. Definitely gonna do a whole video about that. You can check out my Instagram. I actually did a reel on Instagram and TikTok showing what I found, if you guys want to check that out. But that's been a lot of fun. Next, since I've seen all this progress with my plants, my Hoyas up here, and I've talked about that, I know, so many times, but now I'm gonna do my Hoyas downstairs. So one of my next videos, I'm gonna be checking those Hoyas with the microscope, because my queen and my princess just haven't grown in quite a few years. They were some of my first Hoyas, and I feel like they're still the same size. I've never really had them in like the brightest. No, that's actually a lie, because I put them outside for the summer and they still didn't really do anything. Definitely need to check those out. Next, this is a plant I actually got rid of over the summer, and it was my rubber tree. And actually, I am really sad about this plant. I loved my Ficus burgundy so much, just like the standard rubber tree. It's so pretty. I love how it's just such a maroon, deep maroon color that it almost looks black. I love that plant, and it is so easy for me to grow. Like, it just grows so well, but it got too big. I always put it outside, and it got too big when it was outside, and there was 3 plants in that pot, and I wanted to separate it and keep one of the plants and then give 2 of them away. But I don't know, when I posted it on Facebook, I just didn't have the mental capacity to do all that work, and it was covered in like webs and stuff from being outside. So I put it up on Facebook for free. I was like, listen, you guys, this plant is too big. I can't bring it inside. It's covered in webs. If you want it, come take it. And somebody did take it. Hopefully it's still doing well, because those plants are really amazing, and part of me still does want to get it, but I really don't have the space for it. Maybe I can convince my mom to get it and keep it in her house, and I can like live vicariously through her. Maybe. I feel like she would say yes, but she's also mentally at max capacity with the plants that she has. Like, she really doesn't want any more plants. So I don't know, maybe. All right, so here's Miss Gloriosum. You know, now that I think about it, I probably should have cut this stalk a little bit more so that I could plant her further back, but whatever. It's done, and she looks happy. Hopefully this leaf will be okay. It's just a little bit cracked, so I think she can rebound. Another plant I was really bummed that I killed this year was my Anthurium philodendron, and that plant was just always on the struggle bus for me. I never figured her out, and then it just got to the point where I kind of forgot about her at one point, because she was just in a weird spot on my grow rack, and by the time I remembered her, it was too late. But in a way also, that kind of felt like a relief, because she was causing me so much stress. But at the same time, I want to try again because everybody always talks about how easy that Anthurium is. But it was a struggle for me, and I did get her as a little pup. So maybe if I get a more established one, it'll be better. At least that's my hope. And I really love the shape of that Anthurium, and I like the fact that it's kind of like a strappy Anthurium at the same time. But realistically, I'm probably not gonna buy one, but if I have the chance to maybe trade for another one, I might, because it's super cute. And then I had that Monstera Deliciosa I was rehabbing for my friend, and I finally gave it back to her. It was doing really, really well. It popped out a lot of leaves. She was shocked when she saw it about like how much it grew, and then she said, I'm gonna take it home and it's gonna die. But I don't think so. I mean, if I need to rehab it again, I'll rehab it for her again. But that was a big pot. That was like a 12-inch pot. So I ended up giving that to her, and now I have an empty space right behind where my camera is set up right now. But that feels like a good relief to get that off. It wasn't super stressful, but it's just like I have extra space now. And then while I gave her that plant, I also gave her my Thanatophyllum bipinnum, that plant. Just, you know, I love that plant also, but one, she gets strips really easily, and I feel like she needs more light than I was able to ever give her. But I just hate their growth pattern of how much like with wing space they take up, because they're really like a sprawling type of plant. But I still have my Thanatophyllum goldii that is actually right above me, and I'm gonna be keeping her. That one's really special just because she was a Mother's Day gift. That Thanatophyllum I got for like $10 on Facebook Marketplace, so that's fine. And I see my friend all the time, so if it ever like struggles or it looks like it's on death's doorstep, which happens with her plants sometimes, I will just take it back and rehab it and then give it back to her. But that's 2 big plants I got rid of, which is really cool. And here's my little aloe gal. She looks a lot better in here, like so much better, and she's not super top heavy, so that's cool. Let's see, I made a little list so I wouldn't forget. Oh, I also gave that same friend like almost all of my snake plants. I had a snake plant cereii and another variegated snake plant. I don't remember what it was, but it kind of looks like this cereii. I gave those both to her as well. She does really well with snake plants, and she has the cutest snake plant collection, so I thought she'd be really happy with those, and she is. If you haven't noticed, I have like a really small friend group, like literally 3 people in my life, and then my mom, and then I turned them all into plant people. Actually, my mom turned me into a plant person, but I turned my friends into plant people, so now I'm just like always giving them my plants, except for my one friend. I'm still trying to slowly convince him that he could like take one plant. We'll see how that goes. But I've turned almost all of my inner circle into plant people, and it is great. I highly recommend it because you can always give them your plants, and then if you miss it, you can take cuttings from the plant. It's a win-win, really. Or if it's the plant is struggling, you can always be like, you know, take this plant. If it struggles, I will take it from you. I will rehab it and give it back to you, you know? It's great. The last 2 plants, first off, I have variegated compacta, which was horrible, an absolute horrible experience. And I am just chalking it up. Maybe it had flat mites. I got rid of it before I even knew flat mites were a thing. But I really think it was just that specific plant, because I really do want to try to get another variegated compacta, especially seeing now how well my Monaloa and my regular green compacta are doing. I need to try again. I want to find a bigger one, a more established one. Maybe I could find one at Pike's Nursery because they have them now for a fairly good price. So if I find like a couple long strands, I think I might buy one and try them out again. We'll see. I love compacta. They're the little tortellini plants, and they're just the cutest little thing. Last significant plant I killed last year is actually 1000% my fault. It is my Dieffenbachia Marianne, which was my first plant ever, my first plant before I became a plant collector. It was the plant that turned me into a plant collector, if I'm being honest. And God, that sounds so sad because I let it die. It was outside, and once again, I go through this thing when I have these plants outside, and I last year, before the summer hit, I was like, Marina, do not put your plants outside. Then I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna put a few plants outside. And what happens, I end up putting like 30 plants outside. It happens every single year, and then come fall time when it's ready to like bring everybody back in, I go into like, I struggle so much. I go into like overstimulation mode, and that's what happened. I left the Dieffenbachia out there because, well, one, she was really big and she had a lot of stalks that were just all over the place. She was also covered in a whole bunch of spider webs, and I just did not want to put into the effort of cleaning her off and bringing her in because I had no space for her. I have no space for a plant that big, and I'm really sad. I should have taken cuttings, and I had every intention of taking cuttings, but I just never got around to it, and she ended up dying on a very cold night. And I'm so sorry, Marianne. You deserved better. She was such a good plant though, and that makes me really sad. Oh God, why did I do that? That was such a dumb decision on my part, and I knew I was gonna regret it, but I still did it. Do you guys ever do that? Let me know. That was a big mistake, but it is what it is at this point, right? I mean, I have other favorite plants. I guess now at this point, I think my Orbifolia that you see right there in my corner is probably my oldest plant. I'd have to go back. I have to check Instagram because it's either like my Orbifolia or my Pastazana. I think they're pretty close in like how long I've had them in my collection, but definitely some of my oldest plants. And those I'm gonna hold on to for life, especially my Orbifolia. I just love my Orbifolia so much, and I love how easy she can rebound when she's struggling. So that's that. But this is what I'm talking about. Look at how perfect those chips are. So another update is I have decided to not fertilize my plant anymore until the growing season. And actually this was inspired by something I saw on TikTok. There is this girl named Ashley, ATL Plant Room. She does a lot of tissue culturing, but she had mentioned how she started to do this. She did this one year to experiment, and she noticed that her blooms, specifically on her Anthurium, came back a lot stronger the next year when she started to fertilize. Again, that kind of like gave me the inspiration to do the same, just to experiment. And you know, while we do create the perfect environment for our plants to grow all year long, essentially, all living things need a time, a period of rest. And I think that's what plants still need too, regardless of what their environment is like, regardless of if, you know, they're in 60, 70 degree weather inside with like perfect humidity. I still believe that plants like and will thrive if they have a rest period. At least that's my thinking. That's what plants outside do. That's what humans should do. That's what animals do. And after taking that break from everything myself and seeing how much better I felt, I really just, I don't know, I just want to experiment and see what happens. Because yeah, not everything is meant to be going all year long and growing and putting out new huge growth all year long. So we'll see what happens. I stopped fertilizing them in December, and I am a huge fertilizing person. Like, I am a hardcore fertilizer fanatic. I'm always fertilizing my plants, especially because I use coco coir instead of regular soil. Coco coir has no nutrients in it, and I'm always telling people to fertilize, fertilize, fertilize. So I feel like this is like a big thing for me to say. I actually found another plant I could propagate, I could pot up real quick. I took a cutting of my syngonium chiapense because she's been really struggling lately. I'm pretty sure she was extremely sun bleached. I've been treating her in case it's like bugs or flat mites. Since I cut her, I haven't seen any new growth, but you can see she's very pale. I really do think it's from being sun bleached though, because she was by like my Vivo Sun Grow Light. So I moved her into a way less light, and hopefully she'll do better. I cut her right here. So I'm excited to see what her new growth will look like. Hopefully it'll be that nice dark matte green color that chiapenses have, but we'll see. But I took a cutting for insurance, and it has been water propagating, and I am ready to pot her up. I usually don't really wait for the roots to get that long when I water propagate. This pot is too small though. I don't know if I have a longer pot. This will suffice. So that is my thoughts on it. You know, nothing in nature is meant to go all the time, and neither are we. So take this as a tip from your plant sister. Take a break sometimes because you need it. We all need it. Plants need it. And I don't know, I'm just really excited. So I stopped fertilizing in December, and I'm going to start again in the growing season. And I mean, I'm definitely going to share updates with you all and see what happens. Hopefully my plants will respond well to it. I'm not really sure what to expect. Like, am I gonna see like all this new growth like exploding more so than I would when they're growing all year? Will I see more blooms in my Anthuriums or in my Hoyas? I don't know. Share updates whenever I get them. Also, with that being said, I've been seeing a lot of like plant tubers doing goals that they have for their plant collections, but I'm going to do mine on the spring solstice. Do all of my goal setting for my plants. So instead of like New Year resolutions, I'm going to do goals for the growing season, and that just sits really well with me. I never really, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, liked New Year's. New Year's is just a really dark month for me, honestly. It's the year a lot of people in my family like to die. Just gonna leave it at that. So New Year's has never been happy for me. Welcoming the New Year is just always a drag. And I never really understand why people are so happy about it. And also just, it never makes sense to set goals in the middle of winter. Personally, I always set like personal goals on my birthday because I feel like that's when like the new year of you starts. But I like setting goals for my plants now on the spring solstice, when spring is here and plants are ready to grow and everything is being woken up. My spirit feels like it's being woken up in the springtime. So that's where I'm at with that. So yeah, that's a little update on that. And here's my syngonium chiapense. And you know, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I was gonna do other plant chores, but I feel like I talked a lot in just repotting those 3 plants. And I'm just here to say that I'm back, bringing back videos twice a week at ya. If you have any video suggestions you want to see from me, or hear any topics you want me to talk about, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'm always interested in hearing from you guys and what you like to see. Also, let me know if you set goals for your plants or for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm not judging anybody by any means. Definitely just update me with everything. I can't wait to hear from you guys again, and I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all stay safe, staying happy and healthy, and I hope you all have a prosperous 2023. Okay, bye.